And welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I'm your host, Nathan Ragland, and for today's episode, sink your teeth into an absolutely divine conversation with one of the most prominent and boisterous voices in voice acting today. Today's guest is Jason Marnocha, a voice actor and tired vampire, providing a wealth of incredible voices for the likes of Transformers, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Chainsaw Man, Lackadaisy, the Gaslight District, and Lord knows how much more. Jason is someone that I have been keeping eyes on for a good couple of years now, thanks to some previous guests I've had on the podcast, and honestly, hearing his voice is one thing, but getting the chance to talk to him about the incredible opportunities he's been able to get is a whole different thing. And believe me when I say, you are going to want to listen to every single second of this conversation. If you enjoy our guest, please make sure you support him with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know, I see that stuff. You know, it genuinely warms my heart. And look, normally I took a back seat when it came to promoting this kind of stuff, but I'm going to promote the merch shop today because I feel like there's some incredible stuff that I think you would look amazing in. Plus, at the time that we're recording, we have a sale going on. With the holiday season upon us, I feel like now would be a great time for you to get ready for that holiday season. So, if you either go to the link in the description below, or if you go to check out the merch shop and use code HOLLYJOLLY, all capital letters, you can get 10% off of your order today. That includes the return of the fantastic ugly Christmas sweaters, which, trust me, I had one. I gave it to a friend, but it looks fantastic, and I know you guys are going to want it. Plus, ordering right now could mean you could get it in time for the holiday season. So why not show your love and support for the podcast while also looking snug in some swag? But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast.
How you doing?
Doing good. About yourself, man?
Doing all right. Now that Halloween is over, I don't know what to do with myself.
I know, right?
What's the point of it anymore?
I mean, you could go with the Jack Skellington route and just take another holiday.
Oh, yeah. Very true. Very true. Like, you know what? What if I fucked this up, too? Like, well, what if you did, Jack? Oh, man.
This seems interesting. I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. What do you mean? No, I didn't ruin it. I just give it up for some flair.
No. Of course.
All right, Jason. Before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a deserted island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to really enjoy yourself for a little bit. With amenities. I shouldn't say deserted island, more like a personal B&B paradise away from society for a little bit. To make sure you don't go completely insane on this island, you can bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what will that one piece be?
Ooh, that's a good question. So it can be one piece, and we're talking like, so it would be like a movie or a book or a thing, like something like that.
Yeah, anything
right?
anything you consider under the realm when it comes to like media or whatnot, that's all on the table. So like a movie, a TV show, albums, XYZ, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say one of my favorite novels of all time, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell.
Ooh.
I will probably bring that. Because that's just one of my, it's so utterly rereadable. It's very long too, so it's very easy to just like keep going. So you know what? I'm going to go with that. I love a good book. I love a good book relaxing in the thankfully not amenity-free beach that we're doing here, because at first I was like, oh my god, how deserted is it?
It's a good thing I clarified that almost immediately, right?
Yeah,
Now I am gonna apologize because I feel very how should I word this, uncultured when it comes to the book that you mentioned. How would you describe Dr. Strange and Mr. Narwhal? That's how it was.
Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Yeah,
Jonathan Strange and Mr. Narwhal.
Yeah, it is. It's written sort of in a Charles Dickens style, where like it's sort of tongue in cheek and like very silly, kind of the way that it's written.
Okay.
And it's about two magicians who are tasked with restoring magic to England during the Napoleonic Wars.
Oh.
There is actually an excellent miniseries adaptation of it that I highly recommend. They did a very, very good job with it.
Okay.
So if you're looking to check it out, definitely check it out. It's a fabulous show. They did a really, really good job. And if you're feeling like reading the book, grab the book. Highly recommend it.
I mean, I'm always a person that's going to encourage, if you can read a book, and especially with like the way you described it or whatnot, more than anything else, like that just seems like something fun more than anything else. Just dive yourself into.
It's very fun. Yeah. It's very. I mean, it's harrowing. It's kind of spooky. It's a little dark. But it's very humorously written and has, like just again sort of a Dickensian air about it. So I always enjoy that. I think it's a lot of fun. So. Unusual answer, maybe, but yeah, I'd bring the book.
I mean, it's definitely not the weirdest answer I've had on this podcast, believe it or not. I had one person say straight up that they would take a nuke to the island, which I'm like, I don't know if that classifies as media, but
but just paint a face on it and call it Wilson. Like, all right, well, good enough.
If it doesn't blow up immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gentle markers, gentle felt tip.
But regardless, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Gnarl, that is your answer. You're locking that in.
That is my answer, yeah.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You would look fantastic in the merch that we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at PostmodArtPod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a vampire that moonlights as a voice actor, providing a wealth of incredible voices for the likes of Transformers, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Valorant, Chainsaw Man, Lackadaisy, the Gaslight District, and Lord knows how much more. Welcome to the podcast, Jason Marnocha!
Hey, thank you for having me. That was a hell of an intro, man.
Right?
Well done. Oh, that was great. Goodness.
Look, anytime I bring a guest on the podcast, I'm going to make sure to hype them up because of just the incredible stuff that they've been able to do. I mean, to be fair, all that stuff is true. It's not unwarranted for me to say all of that more than anything else, especially the vampire part.
Especially the vampire part.
How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic now that we're getting the opportunity to sit down and do this. This has actually been an episode that's been at least a good couple weeks in the work more than anything else. And I am...
Yeah.
And I'm just glad more than anything. Actually, to be blunt, this is actually one that I would actually say is like years in the work because I've known you for a good couple of years thanks to some close friends that I've had, namely... someone that's actually did your profile picture on some of your socials, Jane Gumball, because I know you helped her out.
Jane, yeah.
Yes, because I know you helped her out with something that she made the thumbnail right back, and that's how I was first aware of your stuff, and I've been keeping track of what you've been able to do, and the incredible opportunities you've been able to get in one form or fashion. I cannot wait to delve into all that and then some. But before we talk about the stuff you're doing nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Jason. What got you interested in the arts and voice acting and stuff in the first place?
Well, gosh, step into the Wayback Machine.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose that I started, I've always been a performer. I've been doing theater my whole life. I've been doing, I'm a musician as well. I play the violin, the saxophone, the piano, the organ, various, not that these instruments at all need to be hanging out together necessarily, but I can... That'd be an unusual sort of junkyard New Orleans sort of thing. I don't.
True. I mean, I would love to see how those like unique sounds would like try to blend together in some weird like Frankenstein's monster of a band more than anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like, well, we play instruments. None of them go together. Let's rock. But yeah, so I started off, very, on various stages and things, and I grew up always doing impressions and things like that with my voice anyway. Okay. In order to date this properly, I would use a micro cassette recorder.
Ooh.
And I would like record like shows and cartoons and movies and whatever, and I would like rewind to very specific parts and like. I found that was excellent for memorization of things, but it was also fun. I would like, and I'm sure it sounded terrible, but I would like dub my own voice in to certain parts and stuff like that. And so, like, see if the impression was any good or things like that or whatever. So I was always sort of testing that anyway, never quite understanding at a very young age that, like voiceover was a viable career of any kind. It was just like, hey, there's cartoons. Hell yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of it, right? So, yeah, so then, growing up, I was dabbling in doing impressions and things like that and still more theater stuff. And then by the time I got to college, I went to college initially, hilariously enough, for screenwriting.
Oh, interesting.
Because I'm also a writer. I enjoy writing.
Right.
But when I got there, I was like, you know what? Maybe I do want to pursue like the acting stuff a little more. And so I switched to the theater department and started dabbling in there a little bit. And then as I was dabbling in there, I will say that the theater department was a little cosmic for me. It was very sort of like, sit here in silence and feel the stars and bunnies coming out of your forehead kind of thing. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Huh?
How is this helping me? Like not to be super closed-minded, but especially as like a 20-something college kid, I'm just like, I don't understand this.
It's like,
this
look,
is not part of my process.
I know acting has like the stereotypes and whatnot, but I'm not on enough drugs to understand what in the world you're getting
I
onto.
am not. Yeah, I have never. What if I don't feel it coming out of my forehead? Then what?
Yeah, that's a concern.
So I sort of. Yeah, exactly. So but I had met some friends in that department who were like, "Oh, hey, there's a radio department, and they have like a voiceover section and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like I've been dabbling in that. Okay. Because I'd been like doing stuff with friends and things like that, and like voiceover things, and dabbled in that a little bit. But again, never thought of it as a super viable career.
Right.
But yeah, so I switched majors to radio, and they wanted to keep me for an extra year trying to be like, you can get a minor in voiceover. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to care if you have a minor in voiceover. The important thing, it's one of those things where like, it's important to, like gather what you can from it, almost more than the degree itself, certainly in something like the performing arts. It's more useful to be able to just absorb that information and
It's better to see what you could take from it and how you could apply it more than showing off, I have this piece of paper.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like, great, but what can you do?
Exactly.
And then it's always, okay, what else can you do? That's always the question. Okay, great. What else can you do?
It can't always be show. It can't always be, tell. You have to show,
Exactly. Yeah. So, doing that and learned from some brilliant teachers in college, like I owe Deb Dotzer and Jeff Lupitin, two of my professors, a whole lot. They've been fabulous. They're such dear friends. So got out of there with a degree in radio and did some stuff in radio for a little bit there, and then tried to sort of get a voiceover agent in Chicago, but it was an interesting situation. I was able to get in with somebody, and I went to like have a meeting to discuss it and see how I do reading some copy and things like that. And it was an unusual meeting because at first, they had heard the demo that I had made and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went in, they were like, "You're Jason?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they apparently, I found out later, were expecting a, quote, elderly black man. And so I'm like, what? Why? Like, now, I've always kind of sounded like this, but I'm like, I don't know where you got that specific from, but okay.
Right.
Like, I don't understand where they thought that, especially because it's like on any of my socials and stuff, like it's got a picture of me right there.
Exactly.
I mean, elderly is debatable. So it was a very weird thing, and I didn't know this till afterward, but they kept looking at me weird, like, huh, okay. And I'm just like, I don't know what this is. So only later was I like, oh, what the, yeah, but it was, and then like they took me in the back to their recording studio to like, try out some copy and stuff. And I think that this was so wildly, weirdly prepared because not only did they have some misconception about me coming in, but they also gave me like copy that you would give to probably the average like 20-something person wanting to get into voiceover. It was like, a Bud Light ad or whatever, and then like an ad for like some Mario game and stuff. But the problem is that they wanted it to be like super peppy and super cool and stuff
Right.
like that. And it's like, why did you bring me here? You know, I'm like, I don't, do you want, so it was just like for some reason, so they heard my demo, misunderstood who I was, decided to give me copy that didn't match at all what like my general vibe of my demo was.
Right.
And then, so it was just a disastrous meeting. And it was just, they were, so it was like very, okay, thank you very much. See ya. Like it was thanks for your time. Goodbye. It just did not go very well. And I was baffled. They also they didn't let me sit down in the booth. I walk on a cane, and I'm like, can I sit? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh. So that was charming.
Yeah, lovely.
So yeah, so it was just a very weird meeting. Obviously, I did not get an offer or sign with them or anything.
Right.
But it ended up being just as well because Chicago isn't particularly a hub for voiceover.
Right.
It's got like some commercial stuff and all that, but it's not Los Angeles or Texas or anything like that. It doesn't have like a huge video game presence or a huge any of that sort of thing. So it was just as well anyway. So I just sort of stayed working in Chicago for a bit, and that was when I first got the auditions for Transformers for Combiner Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, honestly, I appreciate that being like a very big like beginning more than anything else. Like
yeah.
First off, I gotta ask like right off the bat, because I've been wanting to ask this for a quick second or whatnot. Going back a little bit to like the cassette recorder days more than anything else. What were some of those?
Yes.
I'm curious because especially given your voice either then and even now, what were some of the cartoons that you were watching that you were trying to make like impressions of more than anything else?
Oh man, big one was Batman the Animated Series. Always loved the animated series. Big. Mark Hamill is very much part of the reason that I wanted to get into voiceover, because I was so very taken with his performance of the Joker.
Absolutely.
That was so like transformative for, especially like, young comic readers at the time. It's like, oh, finally, that's what the Joker sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's what Batman sounds like. There's Kevin Conroy rocking it. Like whatever. That whole show is just flawless. All of the wonderful like voice decisions and all that. Like, I love Paul Williams as the Penguin. I would never in a million years have thought to cast Paul Williams as the Penguin, but he's incredible. Like he did such a wonderful job, especially when they do like the 4th season redesign and he looks a little more like just a dude in a suit.
Yeah.
And he's not the penguin flippers and everything like that. His voice is just pitch perfect there.
I know.
But
right?
yeah, so that was a big one. I also loved some things that were, I suppose, kind of on their way out at the time. But like Pirates of Dark Water, loved that. I was a big Disney film fan. Loved the Renaissance era, especially of Disney films. Very into that. So I was kind of all. It was funny that like I had sort of pulled loyalties too between like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. Because it's, I never quite like sunk into one camp or the other. Right. For a while there, I felt like I was more Cartoon Network, but then, it was like, but Nickelodeon's got some decent shows coming out. So like, it was never one of those, because I guess back then it always felt like it was, okay, it's Star Trek or Star Wars. Right. It's Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter.
Yep.
It's not, you can't like both of these things. It's Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. You can't like all of these. And it's like, thankfully that seems to have sort of evaporated a little. But
especially these days more than anything else, considering the fact that there's obviously a clear winner when it comes to this. No, I'm joking. No, but
the winner is Lord of the Rings.
I know, right? Jesus. Like, you want to talk about like a pivotal franchise in one form or fashion? I mean, regardless, that is absolutely stunning. I imagine we could have a whole entire like another podcast episode just discussing about the impact of Lord of the Rings more than anything else. But regardless, like it's fun to know that like shows like that, especially like Batman the Animated Series, because let's be honest, that was like transformative, not just for like superheroes, but like just cartoons in general, with like the way that would like tell a story more than anything else. Going from that to finally to realizing or to going into the field more in the acting, well, screenwriting first and foremost, because I can imagine, especially like you were talking about with like a Batman the Animated Series or some of those things, I can see why those could lead you potentially to like screenwriting. Like, what was that more or less like the first thing you wanted to do when you dove into like the creative field, more or less?
Honestly, I was always very into like poetry and certainly screenplays and things like that. But I love like really lyrical, unusual things. Really like the pageantry of certain things. I think that's why one likes like Batman the Animated Series. Talk about a show that's dramatic.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like even the art is like drawn from black pages, right? Like it
Yes.
starts with black, and then they have to build from there. So it's just like it's dark, dark drama, dark, and I loved that. So I think that was one of the big pivotal things for me was just like, okay, this I appreciate being able to mix drama and like seriousness like together with sort of a fun atmosphere of like, hey, it's still a cartoon, it's still okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was always big into poetry and stuff like that. I've got some things I keep meaning to publish, but I'm always just like, tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow.
That is a mood and a half, but also I'm sure both myself and the people that are watching this episode, we would be very curious to see what you have to put out there, given the eloquence that you have when it comes to voice acting alone, but like thinking about like the writing that you have as well. That would be, I can only imagine the prose you have more than anything else.
Thank you.
Yeah, most indubitably, absolutely. And then to see you go from there, to go to screenwriting and have the unique experience in the theater department to going into radio and getting into the voice acting more general. Whenever you did become a part of the radio program more than anything else, was that more or less like the moment it kind of clicked from you, going from like something that you loved and appreciated to a passion and thinking, oh, this could be my career, like this is what I could do?
Yeah, absolutely. Because what really drew me to voiceover was, and especially coming from theater, and everybody will tell you this, is that you don't have to memorize the script.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get fitted for a costume. You don't have to be, oh, you're too tall for this, or you're too short for this, or you're too this for that, or whatever. You don't have to look a certain way. You can play whatever kind of, you can play a shoe, like whatever, like any, like it could be a microwave. Who knows? Like it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about like, hitting your mark and things like that, or I got to be off book by week 2, like anything.
Right.
We don't have to worry about that. So that's one of the things that I found very freeing about voiceover, and that's why I love doing like cold reads and stuff of scripts before we begin, is because it's so fun for me to be able to like, okay, let's just go. I love the spontaneity of voiceover. I love that, like sometimes you're doing something, or you're doing a voice, or you're doing a whatever, and the director is like, okay, can we like basically like, they ask you to do something completely different. You just have to be able to be like, yep, done it, and then you flip immediately. I love doing that. I love how spontaneous it is. I love how freeing it is. Like voiceover is just so like it's just an endless sea of possibilities.
Absolutely. Look, as someone that's also trying to get into voice acting himself or whatnot, I completely know what you're talking about when it comes to like just the freeing atmosphere and like the way you can show a lot more of your own creativity as well when it comes to that compared to acting. Because there is some wiggle room when it comes to creativity, but also like depending on like how the other people are in a certain space, or like how the place was to be meant out. Like there's obviously like a very one-track mind sometimes when it comes to like theater and such, on how a thing should be done and how it should be performed. With voice acting, like you said, there's so many different wealth of different roles and ways to go about it, and the director has like, okay, this is good, let's try it like this, or like it kind of opens your mind when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, like, I will say for me personally, like I would one day aspire to also voice a microwave at some point. I think that would be the prestige creme de la creme when it comes to voice acting roles more than anything else. To say I voice a microwave.
Chasing that dragon. Chase that dragon.
Which, I mean, I guess I have to be reheated because, again, I beat the micro. Anyways,
yeah.
Absolutely. I'm curious because obviously we got a little taste of your first little like step outside when it comes to voice acting, when it comes to that unique Chicago experience more than anything else. But I'm curious, what were some of the first voice acting roles that you remember like taking on and like taking a lot of pride in more than anything else whenever you fully devoted yourself to being in this field?
Oh man. Honestly, some of the stuff that I really enjoyed was and hilariously enough, something that I hadn't even really thought about. But when we were doing, like, I ended up doing my first anime stuff.
Okay.
At a certain point, flying out to Texas and doing that with Amber Lee Connors over at Soundcaden Studios. So getting to do, because I was never much of an anime watcher. Like, I watched, Pokemon and things like that when they were on, but I was never, like deep into it. so it was interesting that it was a show called Rio Rainbow Gate,
Oh,
which
interesting.
yeah. And I play this dude called Orland Dunhill, who's like a kind of skeezy guy. He collects teddy bears, but he's kind of a skeezy dude. But he was so that was a lot of fun, and just for for Amber, having spoken with Amber and met her, and we were actually we all sort of group of friends and us all hung out in Chicago and grabbed a meal at one point. And
Okay.
then it just yeah, just sort of met that way, and so eventually like tossing an anime thing to me, and that was the first anime thing I did, and it was a lot of fun. And she's a tremendous director and a fabulous actress, so it was lovely to be able to sort of like learn how to do anime dubbing with someone who's so patient and so kind and so sweet and so brilliant at her craft. So it was a lovely thing. That's one of the earlier things I did.
I can only imagine, like, especially with that being kind of some of the first experiences that you got to have, especially when it comes to anime, because anime is such a unique field when it comes to voice acting in general. Like, I
Hmm.
feel like, because especially with a lot of it, especially I should say for American speakers, for English speakers more than anything else, like it's basically done already for the most part. Like you're just going through and kind of making sense of what they have put out, like literally translating it so that an American audience can understand it. What is it about anime work for you that keeps you going back in that field more than anything else?
I suppose it's how, again, like not really watching a lot of it, I never know what to expect. I
Right.
never know, like because I don't really watch it, I don't know what shows are out, what's going on. So whenever it's an audition of any kind, I'm always just like, oh, what's this? It can be just anything,
Yeah.
absolutely anything. Like doing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm like, this is a bizarre adventure. Like I had no idea. Like this is crazy. I love that aspect of it. Is it's just like I never know what to expect, and I always find that exciting. So that I enjoy. I've come to enjoy it quite a lot, and I've heard it very wisely said that anime dubbing voiceover is like acting through a straw.
Okay.
Because it's like, you only have this certain amount of time to express this emotion and get this thought across. So it's like
Okay.
acting through a straw. You don't get the full breadth of your emotion. You don't get to like I if I have to do like a take two or a take three, it's usually because I'm going a little long with the line because I'm trying to really infuse it with something, and it's just like there just isn't time.
Right. Right.
So like that's the interesting thing about it is that it's so much of it is condensed to that timing. So it's always an unusual challenge. Certainly in writing the scripts for it too. I'm sure it's a curious challenge to like, okay, well, what can we actually fit in there?
Yeah.
And sometimes, on the day there's rewrites and stuff like, okay, that doesn't quite fit or whatever. We'll add this word here or take this word out here and finesse it a little bit. There's always finessing on the day of, but yeah, it's an exciting medium, and all the people who come up to me at cons and stuff like that are always very, very kind
Oh
and
yeah.
delightful to hear how these shows or these characters have like impacted them. Like, so it's always very, very lovely to be like, oh man, like people do like this. Like I think that's fabulous. Like I don't know, I love a fandom.
Oh
I
yeah.
love a fandom.
Oh no, absolutely. I was gonna say, especially when it comes to anime, like it's such a unique field when it comes to animation in general. Like I feel like, 'cause
Hmm.
especially with the unique engine or creativity that they have over there at the studios in the first place, and then to come over here to America with some of these concepts, and like you said, basically take it and condense it into a straw of like, okay, this is what is presented, we have to fit this here, like, puzzle piece, work it like this, work it like this, work it like that. It's always very interesting, and especially with, like I had mentioned before, some of the unique range of shows more than anything else you've been able to work at when it comes to anime. I mean, the first one you mentioned was the first one I was gonna mention, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, more than anything else. I mean, for me personally, I didn't even hear about the show until I was in college, and when I first got into, like, first heard about it and my friends were showing me like bits and pieces from it, I'm like, I mean, the title's very fitting.
Yeah, this is just what it says on the box. It is a bizarre adventure.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and that's even the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, you've been a part of Chainsaw Man. You got a chance to voice act in parts of One Piece. You got to be a part of Lupin the Third, that unique world on its own more than anything else. My Hero
Mm.
Academia. Like, I'm so curious, at least for you, when it comes to your anime work, is there any performances or any roles that you had that you can't help but just look back and be like, I don't care if it like I guess the proper way to word is what would be like your proudest anime work out of the things you've been able to do.
Oh, that's tricky. Because One Piece is one that I was actually familiar with, so that was
Right.
interesting to get to be thrown into One Piece. That was a lot of fun. As Charlotte Oven. But honestly, my very favorite anime things that I've gotten to do are probably fighting neck and neck for the top spot is probably the Katana Man from Chainsaw Man
Yeah.
and Knuckle Duster from My Hero Academia Vigilantes.
Oh my goodness.
Because I love. I mean, I play a lot of bad guys, obviously, and the Katana Man is, a pretty vile dude, and he has such a cool design. I remember when I first saw the art for him, I was like, oh my god, he looks like a mix of like Cronin from Hellboy and like Pinhead from Hellraiser, like a Cenobite from Hellraiser. Like
Yeah.
he's got such a great visual. He's so scary. So I loved him. He was a lot of fun, and just everyone in that cast is so hilarious and delightful. Ryan is such a gem. Like Sarah is such a they're all just absolutely delightful folks. We've hung out at a good few cons at this point,
Oh yeah.
and they are just fabulous to get to know, to be on panels with. Like they're all just delightful people. Um, and so that was a big one. And then Vigilantes was interesting because again, I play a lot of bad guys, but I don't play a lot of. And he's not a bad guy at all. Like
Right.
he's a vigilante. He's a little rough around the edges. He's maybe a little misguided, but he's certainly not evil.
Mm-hmm.
So Knuckle Duster was a real joy to get to play because he's got sort of the warm dad energy, but he's also like a weird mix of Batman and like kind of Rorschach because he'll like invade your fridge. But like so he was a lot of fun getting to play like the sort of because he was funny too.
Oh yeah.
It's rare that they let me do anything super funny, so it was delightful to get to play with the humor of him. He's just a fabulous character. I love Knuckle Duster.
Oh, I can only imagine. And hearing kind of the thought process you had with these characters and like what they kind of remind you of, I imagine those also kind of guided you on how it came to voicing the characters in general. It leads me to wonder, I probably should have asked this before I even got to the works you've been able to do, but what is the voice acting process like for you? Like, how do you go from like, okay, this is what I'm given, or oh, this character looks cool, to kind of developing and delivering a voice that you feel like is adequate with the character you're given?
Well, you know what? Yeah, let's look at them as examples. I'll break them down.
Okay.
So we got the Katana Man and we got Knuckle Duster. So one of the things that very much helps, when you get certainly auditions and stuff, is being able to see the character.
Mm-hmm.
Now, funnily enough, and to my great fortune, I did not audition for the Katana Man. He was offered to me, which is a
Oh,
very rare thing.
yeah.
That is very rare. But Mike McFarland, bless him, he was directing the first season, and he knows what he wants, and he knew he wanted that growl that I bring. So or at least I assume so. But that was because that's sort of what we landed on when we started trying out the voice. He's like, yeah, that's what we want.
Right.
So like looking at him when he's in his human form, he's very sort of stoic, and so we wanted to make him not too deep or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to sort of make his words run together a little bit like Harrison Ford. I don't know. I was like, he seems like a guy who doesn't put a lot of energy into being like hyper specific in his speech. So we wanted him to be kind of relaxed, especially in that first shot where he's like, this ramen shop sucks. I've been waiting here for you guys for like 45 minutes. Why did you take so long to get, So he's sort of doing that. And then since we had seen that Ryan as Denji sort of goes sort of high with his like cackling and his like Chainsaw Man voice and stuff.
Yes.
We wanted the Katana Man to go really low. So he sits down here being like, don't often get to kill my enemies twice in a row. So we wanted it to be like this sort of dichotomy of like, he's the lower, like I wanted it to sound sort of like scraping metal or something. And so we landed on that. And I had done a similar thing for Megatron when I play him. Like I
Yep.
used the growl for emphasis. So it was just sort of taking that, but just making it a little more demure, very mindful. I'm like, wait, I'll do the meme.
I did not expect you to go with the meme, but I'm so appreciative that you did.
Oh yeah. So that was the process for him, was just like, okay, I feel like he would do this. I feel like he would do this. Finesse it with the directors, see what they think. Knuckle Duster I did audition for. And with him in particular, I wanted him to have sort of a fairly regular, gruff guy voice where he's talking normally. But when he's doing knuckle duster stuff, he's got a Batman voice. You know, like I wanted him to kind of, all right, clean it up the streets. Like I wanted him to sort of do, I am here too. You know, like being that sort of since he looks so much like Batman, and he was described to me as like, okay, this is basically the My Hero Batman. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then let's give him a Batman voice.
Yeah.
And so he'll dip out of it and he'll be like, oh, hey guys, what are we up to? But then he's doing his frenzied Batman voice. You're getting a taste of these. You know, like it's just, so that was a lot of fun. I was like, well, if this guy's doing Batman, he's got to dip in and out of a Batman voice.
There you go. Hold on give me 1 second. I'm calling up James Gunn to see if DC Animated needs a new Batman voice, because I think we got a good one right here. Go for it. I mean,
oh man.
I mean, honestly, like I could see how like that kind of mentality, like you said, like kind of what you're given and the way you were able to deliver it, especially like so like effortlessly, like right there more than anything else. I mean, I imagine part of that is the fact that you've run those lines, like you've talked to these characters over and over again, so you're used to easily slipping in and out of the voices when it comes to these characters and such. But
oh yeah, they're like old friends at this point.
Exactly, it's like riding a bike, once you
yeah.
But like regardless, like the way you're able to like slip in, I mean, I guess that's part of when it comes to voice acting, finding that like good comfortable range when it comes to you, especially given the voice that you've been able to deliver this entire time more than anything else. I know it's just your natural voice more than anything else, but like the way you're able to like effortlessly slip in and out of those voices, and how well you really embrace the characters, even the short little bits that you just had right there. Like it's really it really showcases, I guess, how much of a professional you are at the end of the day when it comes to this stuff.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. And I also gotta say, I'm so glad you mentioned Megatron, because honestly, that was where my next line of questions was going to lead to. I imagine for you, based on the research that I've been able to do when it comes to the roles and what you've been able to do, I imagine Megatron is probably a big like bucket list item for you to be able to get a chance to do it. How did you even get the opportunity to voice in the Transformer universe in the first place, and how has it been whenever you do get the opportunity to voice not just Transformers in general, but like the most notorious bad guy when it comes to Transformers?
It's funny. Anytime we do like a panel on for a Transformers convention or anything like that, I usually do get asked something similar, and my answer is no. I never watched Transformers growing up. I didn't really care for it.
Okay.
So no, I had like no horse in the race when I was auditioning. I auditioned for Optimus, Starscream, Megatron, anyone that they had. I auditioned because the auditions came across. I was working with Bat in the Sun at the time on some of their videos.
Okay.
And the director, Aaron Shonka, he did. He was the one who actually passed the auditions along, because basically it was being filtered around through different places. Like, hey, do you have anybody on staff who would audition for this sort of thing? Mm-hmm. And so, I auditioned. I auditioned for Optimus Prime and all that, and just transform and roll out. Doing that whole thing. And then with Megatron, I was like, okay, I knew Peter Cullen doing Optimus because they used it in a lot of like advertising for stuff and whatever.
Absolutely. Obviously.
Yeah, like you can't escape him, but I had never really known that like Frank Welker was Megatron, and I never really knew like what Megatron was supposed to sound like. And so the visual that we had for the first show, Combiner Wars, he's got like the Decepticon logo is kind of scraped off his chest. He's got a big scar going down his face. And so I'm like, okay, well, and he had like gritted teeth and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so he's got these big chewy teeth and all that. And what if I again went down to that place. I was like, what if we make him a great rumbling engine?
Yeah.
Like he's down here. And in this version, he turns into a tank, which I believe is the first time I think that's the first animated version where he turns into a tank.
I believe so.
Which I prefer to him turning into a gun, I will say, but that's just me.
What person, if they thought, if I could be a Transformer, I want to be a gun. Like, I appreciate Optimus wanting to be righteous with like the truck, or Bumblebee with like the cool looking thing, but if you could turn into a gun, you win.
Yeah, right, yeah. But yeah, so that was where we started, with just that very dark place down here. And then as we went into the show, when they did bring me on for Megatron, which did surprise the hell out of me. I didn't expect that at all. I was just like, well, it's because, you're supposed to audition and throw it away and forget it, and I've gotten very good at like you pour everything into the audition and then just throw it away? And then just don't worry about it. But when we actually started recording and stuff, we determined that we wanted him to actually sit about here. But then when he emphasizes something, that's when it goes down. So it's kind of an in and out thing. He'll be talking to Optimus and then move down there. So we sort of ended up doing sort of a hybrid voice of two different sort of sounds. Just depending on emphasis. And it also made him sound a little more like maybe his vocoder was messed up or something,
Right.
that sort of thing. So it was an interesting sort of trial by fire to like, okay, well, now I need to learn about Transformers.
Right. I mean, to be fair, especially with you, like, not only did you get the opportunity with like Combiner War, you had like a good couple of opportunities to really deliver it, to deliver that voice in one form or fashion. I know for me, I was curious because as I was doing the research, one of the ones that I saw was you voicing Megatron for Power of the Primes. That one caught my attention for two particular reasons. One, I imagine that had to be a partial, well, I'll say, for on a personal note, for me, I'm a huge fan of wrestling, and so to see Samoa Joe being one of the people voicing someone in there as Predaking, that was a very well done performance by him. But for number two, I imagine that has to be like a partial like dream come true for you, considering the fact that in that series that was the one where they also had Mark Hamill hop on the Transformers franchise as well. So I imagine getting a chance to work with someone, or at least alongside someone that had arguably a major impact on you, like you said, loving, the Joker's performance in Batman the animated series. That had to be at least like a bit of a surreal moment more than anything else.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely like a dream come true. I had no idea that they were going to cast him, because of course they can't tell us.
Right.
And what's funny is that he shows up. Megatronus shows up for the first time, I think, at the tail end of Titan's Return, right before Power of the Primes.
Right.
He shows up, I think, at the very end. And I had done the scratch track for that while I was in the booth. And for those listening who don't know what a scratch track is, just in case, a scratch track is basically like, hey, we need to start animating this. Can you do these lines of dialogue? And we'll bring in an actor later to dub it.
Yeah.
If they haven't cast anyone or if they're, like, can we just get this rolling? So for Megatronus, they didn't have anything. So they asked me to do Megatronus, and so I sort of did it like Tony J, this very sort of, your God walks among you now.
There you go.
Like whatever. And according to FJ, who was the producer, he says that Mark Hamill came in and was listening to that and literally turned to him and was like, what do you want me for? This is great. And I'm like, what the fuck? And there goes me blown out the door. I'm just like, what?
Are you kidding me?
I know. I'm like, I'm taking that with me to my grave. That's the coolest thing I've ever. Luke Skywalker said I did. It was very cool. I'm like, that is the sweetest compliment ever.
I'll say, like, when it comes to voice acting stuff, like, you've peaked. Whenever one of the people that you love and admire just basically says, this guy's perfect. Like, that, where can you go from there?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like, now what? Well, that's it. Packing it up. Like that. Just incredible. I was immensely flattered to hear anything like that. So
absolutely. And then
it was delightful. And getting to share scenes with him was incredible because we do get to like exchange dialogue and stuff. And it's just like, that's Mark Hamill. That's Mark Hamill. Do you see that? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's like, it's Mark Hamill. Mother, I'm having the vapors.
I say, that's Mark Hamill.
I mean,
yeah, I met a bunch of awesome people on that show. I tell you, Frank Todaro, who plays Starscream.
Yes.
He plays Starscream in the Netflix show as well. So us, we just anytime we're at a con or whatever, like we are always just goofing around and doing bits and things. He is an absolute gem. I adore him, and he's wonderful at his craft, and he is my Starscream for sure. I love his Starscream so much.
Trust me, I don't think anyone here is going to complain when it comes to that, given obviously the opportunities he has been able to have to deliver such a really damn good voice performance at the end of the day. I mean,
oh yeah.
Especially paired alongside with like your Megatron more than anything else, like that. Where can you go wrong at the end of the day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I am curious, obviously, with such a esteemed character as Megatron, I imagine there's plenty of lines that you can't help but think like even looking back, just thinking, God, it was so cool when I got to say that. Or like basically what was like the coolest line or like your personal favorite line you got to deliver as Megatron?
My very favorite one, hilariously enough, is from Combiner Wars. I think it's near the finale. But he's talking to Starscream and he says, stars will bloom and die before I'm done killing you.
Oh, Got the
And
chills
once
right
I
there.
saw, yeah, once I saw that on paper, I'm like, okay, that's it. It's absolute cinema. You know, like I, yeah, there it is. So I was just like, oh my God, what a delicious line of dialogue. Like, oh, so good. And
Absolutely.
anytime in the Netflix show when I'm like talking to, oh my God, Ultra Magnus's head. Anytime I'm talking to his severed head, like it's very Shakespearean and stuff, and kind of weird and a little twisted. So yeah, there's plenty of lines, but that honestly, that is probably my favorite, just because what a great line that is.
Absolutely. And I mean, even then, what we're talking about, that's just like, you know, that's even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to some of the incredible stuff that you've been able to do. I mean, obviously, it's probably one that at least a mainstream audience will probably know you best for more than anything else. Though I will say, like, even going through seeing some of the other stuff you had a chance to voice or whatnot, like, I was surprised whenever I saw, oh wait, you were in My Heroes with or My Adventures with Superman? What? As Jor-El?
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
that's a unique like little pin on your like little jacket of like, yeah, this is something cool I got to do.
Oh yeah, especially as like a big DC fan. Like I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
you know, it what's funny is that they did tell me when I got in, I was like, cuz I didn't expect to get this. You know, this is the sort of thing that goes to like the Marlon Brandos and the whatever. You
Right.
know, like I didn't expect that. So going in, they liked the very serious sort of gravitas of the voice, but also that I was able to they thought that I spoke the Kryptonian language, the smoothest or whatever.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I'm like, oh, okay. Because, yeah, like I love, like, you know, fake language and things like that. Like, so I love reading lines of dialogue in, like, you know, languages that aren't real or whatever, like, especially like fantasy stuff or sci
Mm-hmm.
fi stuff or whatever. Like, you know, very, you know, like Huttese is wonderful, you know, like things like that. Like, I love that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it felt very natural to jump into that sort of thing. And I loved, all of what they did with a character like Jor-El. I thought was really cool. I love that he's sort of. I love his eye patch. I love that he's sort of stocky. He's like a kind of a badass instead of like I don't know. I was very taken with the visual, which I think helps it a lot. And I think that whole show is gorgeous, and
Oh,
everybody on
absolutely.
it is just fabulous. Like it's such a beautiful show. It's such a sweet show. It's such a funny show.
It is.
Like yeah, everybody involved in that is wonderful. I swear that whole show is just a gold mine of great folks.
Like I know people were like I hate that people were so hesitant on the show when it was first announced more than anything else, but like once they got out there and people got to see it and to see people like flocking to it and absolutely loving all the different elements of it more than anything else, like it was such like a kind of a heartwarming moment given like I can imagine, especially with what you're talking about right now, like the love and care that kind of went into the show and like the amount of fun and humor that went into it at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, it is a joyful show.
It
It's a
is.
joyful show for sure.
It's a good comfort show more than anything else, even with some of the serious elements that are in that show. I mean, um,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and also like I love how you mentioned that like you were a major like DC person as well, getting the chance to voice Superman's dad at the end of the day when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't think people, unless they did some deep diving into some of your stuff, I guess a lot of people don't realize how much of a, how do I put this elegantly? People don't realize how much of a nerd that you are.
Oh yeah. No, nobody does. Nobody does. And I always use that as like a reassuring a reassuring point when people like come up to the booth or whatever and are like nervous or anything. I'm like, oh, don't be nervous. I'm a nerd. They're nerds. We're all nerds. Don't worry about it. Like, we're all just hanging out. Like, please don't, there's no need to be nervous. You know, like I'm just a dork. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't worry. Like, we're all here in the same boat. I'm not. I don't. I'm not looking down on you. Hey, what's that? What you got right there? That's actually really cool. Like,
Yeah.
what booth did you buy that from? I'm probably gonna buy it from there later, maybe. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I guess especially people want to look more into like your social media and whatnot. I guess the best way they can look at that is kind of something that I emphasize in the intro or whatnot. What is it about vampire culture and like vampire stuff that like makes you want that you embrace that as kind of who you are at the end of the day?
Well, interestingly enough, I did have someone come into my DMs at one point and be like, hey, so, like, big fan and whatnot. I'm writing a paper for college on the vampire subculture. Could I
Oh,
interview you? And I'm like, oh, I'm not like in the subculture. I just like the vibes.
right.
I just enjoy the historical aspect of like, like that sort of vampire culture and things like that. And I've always liked, I mean, I like capes and I like, like I appreciate sort of gothic elegance,
Yes.
horror and things like that. And so, like vampire stuff has always been very high on my list. I have several different sort of artifacts and things that I collect that are, like vampire things and whatnot, and certainly some lovely pieces and whatnot. But yeah, our whole house is like sort of a gothic sensibility. Very much maximalism. We have like portraits hung everywhere, all over the walls, and
Oh, that sounds stunning.
plenty of yeah. Oh yeah. We got and big dramatic curtains and things. We've got a pump organ in the middle of the room, and things like that. So we're very much embracing the gothic aesthetic here, and but I guess that came from I don't really know. I think I was very taken the very first time that I read Dracula.
Okay.
When I was very young, because it was interesting to have. It's essentially a found footage piece, right? Like it's kind of the origin of found footage, because it's mostly composed of letters or dictations from Dr. Seward, or notes from the logbook of the Demeter, things like that. So it's sort of compiled out of like different little snippets in a very sort of found footage kind of way, which I thought was certainly very novel at the time, and still holds up as a novel now.
Oh,
really.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I've always been kind of into that sort of stuff. I love the gothic aesthetic, and I love dramatic cloaks and things, and as the good example is that we've been dining very well on vampire films lately, between Nosferatu and Sinners and the Vortilac and things like that. Like we're doing all right with some vampire movies lately, so I'm very delighted.
Oh, no,
Nosferatu, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is especially fun for me, because like it's like, oh, finally, this is the book accurate version of the Dracula character, that Count Orlok.
Yes.
Like that is the most. It's funny that it's in the remake of the knockoff of Dracula that has the most book accurate version of Dracula.
Right.
Like I love the Coppola movie. I love that. But it's not, Dracula's not a tragic hero. He's just a creature. He is an appetite, nothing more, like whatever. So I loved how that all turned out. And we've been feasting on good vampire stuff lately. So I'm delighted.
Oh, no, absolutely. Two things I gotta say. One, you gotta invite me to your house at some point, because everything you just described right there is like the lovely kind of vibe and environment I would love to just immerse myself in. It sounds like a lovely place you have, more than anything else.
Certainly.
I'm so glad you're making it like the most comfortable place for you possible, because that's what a home needs to be.
Right? Exactly. That's what we were thinking too. We're like, is this too much? And it's like, no, it's perfect.
No, it's not enough.
Glad it's too much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there it is. More things on the walls, more shenanigans. Get a Fiji mermaid over here, like whatever.
Right. That's great. And then secondly, I hate how much I love the metaphor of Dracula being a found footage like novel in the first place. I never thought of it like that before you mentioned it. Like that.
Right? But it is though. Like it totally is.
Does that make the Bible also technically found footage as well? In a way?
I mean, I guess so.
Right?
I mean, it's all sort of recollection anyway, isn't it?
It's
all sort of like, wait, who was actually there?
Yeah, exactly. It's probably more of an anthology series and a found footage thing more than anything
There you
else.
go. Yeah. Yeah, but it's also. I mean, you could argue it's like mixed media too, because it's like these are taken from the recording cylinders of Dr. Seward and stuff, and it's like so this is mixed media too, because this is from recording cylinders.
Right. No,
so
I mean, that's incredible. And I can't help but laugh that you started with the thing of being like, oh yeah, no, I'm doing a research when it comes to the vampire subculture and whatnot, because that's not as far-fetched as I thought it would be, more than anything else. I've had a previous guest on the podcast that actually interviewed someone that does identify as a vampire. The guest's name is literally his name is This Is Goblin. He's a VTuber that portrays himself as like a goblin and such. And one of the people that he interviewed is someone that identified as a vampire. It was very interesting for the person to kind of get their insight on like what it means for them to embrace legitimately being as close to a vampire as you can in modern society, more than anything else.
Oh, sure. No, that's awesome, and I have every bit of respect for that, and go for it and stuff. But with me, it's just it's mostly just a joke. It's just that I like the vibes, I do not actually think I am a vampire. I just often portray myself as one, a voice actor / tired vampire.
There you go. And
even my price list that I keep on my table for cons and stuff, it also mentions like, please note we are no longer accepting souls or cursed objects as payment.
Dang it.
So that, I know people do that. They come to the booth, they're like, man, and I'm like, I know the market's just crap for it anymore. So, like I'll roll with it a little bit, but I'm not like, filing my teeth or anything. Like
Oh, no, that's valid. That's fair. I guess I have to go with the backup option. If I see you at a con, I'm going to have to bring a bag of blood from the local hospital, see if they can be all right.
Now we're talking.
There you go. No, please do not do that legitimately. That they need the hospital needs it more than Jason does.
Oh my God. Much as I appreciate the offering, please leave it to the hospital.
Yes. I will say what wow, words, I had them and then they just escaped my head almost immediately. Where did they go? Yeah, I know, right? No, but like looking back at my notes now, no, it's incredible to hear how much of not just like what you've been able to do, but how much of a community you've been able to amass around you with what you've been able to do. And I imagine that what was already pretty prominent beforehand with like the Transformers and anime stuff or whatnot, it's probably gotten a lot richer and definitely a lot more louder more than anything else, thanks to some of the indie work you've been able to do, especially as of late. And I feel like I would be doing a disservice to myself if I didn't at least mention the biggest and at least newest one that people got a chance to see. We'll mention some of the other ones you got a hand in as well, but the biggest and newest one you got a chance to be a part of, providing the voice for the fantastic character of Ken for the Gaslight District.
Oh yeah. Ken is a delight. I love him very much.
Oh my God, I cannot tell you how much I loved your performance as Ken more than anything else. I have to ask.
Man, thank you.
No, absolutely. Trust me. Like I felt like you truly embraced that character and you made him like such a unique like so fun, but yet also so serious. Like such a character that I can't help but like also like I want to root for more than anything else, despite the fact that in this world they're like, scum of the scum. Everyone's like scum of the scum. Like,
oh yeah.
How did the opportunity to even voice this character come to you in the first place?
Well, it came to me in the first place because I've already been working with the folks at Glitch on. I did a show called Meta Runner when that was out. I played the character Marco. So I've sort of been on their radar, and we did that show, and then I pop up in I'm usually popping up in at least one thing. I've done like a commercial, some of the commercial audio for the Amazing Digital Circus. Mm-hmm. I've done. I'm the voice on the VHS tape talking about zombies and whatnot in Murder Drones. So I've been sort of sprinkled in and whatnot. And then when they brought me the auditions for the Gaslight District, I'm just like, oh, this looks cool.
Right.
Like, oh, I love this. And we didn't even know when it was done, we didn't even know that it was going to look that cool at the end. We didn't know that they were doing this stop motion-y sort of thing where they're like, where it reminds me of stop motion. I didn't know they were doing that. I didn't know it was going to be lit so cool. I didn't know we were going to keep getting these like glowing eyes and faces and stuff. Like I had no idea how cool it was going to look. It has so many like very thoughtful like shots and images. Like at the end when Ken's giving his big speech and we cut to Mel sort of cowering away and his shadow looks like Oogie Boogie or something. Like it's this weird sort of shadow that's cast over her. Like it's such a visceral show. Like I love the imagery in it. I love the commentary on it. I was just taken from the beginning, and it was delicious to be able to playing monsters and like ugly characters, quote unquote ugly characters and whatnot. Is always fun because you get to just do whatever your mouth can do with it. You know what I mean? So like, so we already knew that like Ken's gonna end up sounding like this. He's gonna get over here. Like he's just this sort of boisterous, like New York butcher.
Right.
And so he wanted to do that, and that's what occurred to me when I saw the visual and stuff, and I loved getting to do all of his screaming and all of his yelling and all of his anger and all of his love, all of his affection for Mel.
Absolutely.
That's another show where just I adore our core cast so much. Like, everyone, Fitzy and John and Gianni, like it's a family, we're family. It's good.
It's a weird little family, but it's a good family. It's
a weird, you know what? It's a weird little family, but it's ours.
Exactly. No, I cannot tell you how much I instantly fell in love with the Gaslight District when I watched that pilot more than anything else. Like I loved how chaotic it was, but also like how beautifully like ugly it was at the end of the day. Like you talked, like Part-Time Siegel, the creator, like has like this incredible vision, and I cannot wait to see, now that you guys got the show greenlit more than anything else, to do a lot more in that world. Like, I'm excited to see where he's gonna go with it. And I will also say he is someone I would love to have on this podcast to talk about like what the fuck is going on inside his mind in the first place.
I'll nudge him for you, because I think he would probably show up on this thing to talk about it. He loves this show so much. It's so much of his. So much so that like it's been a real trip getting to do like more of it and whatnot. And I will say, without giving anything away, obviously, but it is definitely crazier than the pilot.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
I was gonna say,
it's getting nuts, and I love it.
Like, obviously, we got a little taste of it with the recent was it Glitch Direct or whatnot, with what we could potentially be seeing. I can only imagine, and you could probably attest to this, what we're even teased was only the tip of the iceberg with how crazy it's gonna get.
Oh yeah, once all those images started sort of popping up on the thing, I'm like, oh yeah, that's yep. This is kind of what it's been feeling like, I love that this is where it's going. Yes, please. Like it's so delightful, so delightful.
Like, I can only imagine, like you said, like just with how crazy it is, I can only imagine how much more fun it is for you to be able to delve back into this world and to do a lot more with this character of Ken.
Oh yeah, because it was, because I feel like there's something lovely about like a very sort of, because he is, you could argue he is an evil character, like he's a bad guy, right? Like he's not, but he does love his daughter.
Yeah.
He loves Mel and all that, and he does care about, like, so it's interesting to play that sort of anger, that sort of, like, whatever, but also just very like, oh, Mel, you're good, huh? You're doing okay. Oh, God, stay safe, Mel. Holy shit, stay, like, whatever. Like, it's just a lot of fun to have, like, sweeter moments with him. It's been immensely rewarding.
It's so incredible to literally see the duality of a character like Ken at the end of the day. Like, that's something I think I love and appreciate about that character. The fact that, again, like you said, there are moments where he could be, like, the worst person that you want nothing to do with, because he might use that knife in his head to slob off every single limbs, and even limbs you probably didn't know existed at the end of the day. But then on the flip side, he is just the biggest teddy bear when it comes to Mel, and like trying to make sure that she's safe more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and
it's just fabulous.
Absolutely. And with that, like, that's not even the only thing you're doing with Glitch, technically, because on top of that Glitch Direct that I talked about that they recently had, it was also announced that another show that you have a major part in or whatnot is getting the help of Glitch to provide a lot more for that world, and that's Lackadaisy, being the voice of Victor in that show. Again, I have to ask, how did the opportunity for that role to be a part of this unique world, how did that come to you in the first place?
That actually came to me through Belle, who plays Freckle in Lackadaisy.
Okay.
One of the most generous people in the world, and always very like, hey, I think you should audition for this. Hey, this came across my thing. I think you should audition for this. My recollection is that he sent me the audition for Victor. And so, so I, getting to like, okay, so he's a big Slavic cat. Okay, so we'll put him down here. All right, and there's Sunset Rose Cocktail, whatever. So we put him down there. Thankfully, he doesn't say very much, so it's not too hard to, He's a man of few words, but
right.
Decent enough fellow. And very sort of dry. He's very, he's the straight man to Rocky's sort of crazy antics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and from that, they also asked me, they also wanted me to voice Ace of Sweet, which is he's the head of the Marigold Gang. He's Mordecai's boss, yeah. Mordecai and the Savoy twins boss. So he's fun too. They wanted more of sort of a John Goodman feel with him. He mostly laughs, so he's just a jolly fellow, but like deeply sinister. So like I'm looking forward to doing more with him. It's been fun, but yeah, we when we got the green light and everything, even before like getting involved with Glitch and stuff, we'd already gotten together and recorded the show, and so like now we get to like add more to it and do
Yeah.
more things and stuff, as I understand it. So that's kind of fun.
Because it's not like you guys were.
Designers.
I would say it's not like you guys were lacking in being able to do stuff in the first place. I mean, you guys had a very successful backer kit campaign to really get the show funded for the season
very
in the first
much.
place. So, like,
the
fact that Glitch is hopping on board and be like, hey, you know this thing that you guys love? We want more of it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's been really lovely that they're letting us hop on under the Glitch banner, because I like the folks at Glitch. I think that they're good folks, and they're doing fabulous work for the indie community.
Oh, absolutely.
And helping people get their visions out there, you know.
Oh, no.
But yeah, recording with this show was very special, because it's very rare that you get to record with your castmates.
Okay.
And we were all rotating in and out of the room depending on the scene, but we were recording with our castmates, which is so rare.
Yeah. I mean, I remember how commonplace that used to be, like, back in the day, back in early voice acting, and, like, nowadays with the technology of it being so it's easier for people to voice act, but also, like, less of an opportunity to have, like, collaborative voice acting opportunities like that. I can imagine, like I said, it's very rare to have that these days, and especially for, again, an amazing, gorgeous, stunning show like Lackadaisy, being able to even lend a voice in that is such a wonderful opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a lot of fun, and again another show where the cast is just fabulous. You know, like I adore everybody on this show. Everybody working on it. Tracy and Fable are so wonderful, and you know Willow. They're all in Newt. Like they're all together. Like you know, just trying to keep this ship afloat, and they're doing such a wonderful job. And they're all such genuinely good, passionate people. It's really remarkable to get to be involved with things like this that I regard as such like high art. You know, like everyone wants to sort of infantilize animation or pretend that it's that it's for children or whatever. And it's like, and you know, you don't necessarily have to swear every other word to make it adult animation,
right?
But you can put, you know, like heavier themes in it and stuff like that, or you know, like violence or whatever for, you know, the right sort of thing. But there's something so elegant about Lackadaisy that I love so much. Like, sure, it can get dirty and gritty, and what, you know, it is prohibition, but. You know, but it is nice that like there's something very classy about Lackadaisy that I just adore. You know, there's something so classy about it.
Oh no, trust me, I am right there with you when it comes to like loving the elegance of it, along with knowing just how dark and gritty it can be, especially with your character Victor. If people have read the comic that's based off of, knowing what Victor is capable of more than anything else.
Oh yes.
I mean, like even then, I love how you talked about like with adult animation, like it can get dark, it can get gritty, it can get violent or whatnot. I think that's probably a good example of another show that hasn't been shown out yet, but it's probably been one of the more hyped indie animated shows out there or whatnot. And I mean, it's in my background. I'm pretty sure people understand. You actually provide a voice for the upcoming Farfetch, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Providing, correct me if I'm wrong, a voice of one of the monsters we could potentially be seeing at some point. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because I think it was...
yes, and I can say no more about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
However, everybody else on that show is also awesome. Ashley and Dave and everybody on that show, flawless too, obviously.
Oh no, absolutely.
But it's like that's one show where I'm like, I can't talk about that.
It's like I'd love to, but you know, I
would love to. Oh.
I mean, regardless,
so love to.
Like you know, getting the chance to voice opportunities like that, or even the opportunities that we've gotten the chance to talk about, you know, like beforehand or whatnot. Like it's so incredible just what you've been able to do in this space. It leaves me curious, you know. I'll ask this one first. Like, of all the opportunities you've had a chance to do so far, and all the different shows, all the different, you know, roles and all these different aspects, do you have at least like a personal favorite or like one that you hold near and dear to your heart?
Honestly, the Gaslight District is definitely near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
Because for one thing, my father's name is Ken.
Oh.
And even though he sounds nothing like this, and he is nothing like this, he's a doctor.
Oh, we fancy.
He's a radiologist. So, yeah. But his father was a butcher.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so the idea that like, oh well, this all sort of comes full circle. So now in my dad's study at home. I sent him the little figure of Ken, and he keeps it in his study, and I'm just
Aw.
like, hell yeah, Dad. But yeah, it's I love the Gaslight District very, very much. Honestly, the indie stuff. I think that indie animation is so important.
Yes.
Indie animation is so, like, because I feel like, especially nowadays, so much of a lot of more, corporate animation, if you will, more like corporate media, is so sort of, it's run through just the absolute craziest ringer of focus groups and interference from higher ups who don't have a creative bone in their body and all
Right.
these, but with indie stuff, it's like, with the right resources and with the right, like, no, it's like voiceover and like anything else. It's so much like who you know, if you're not a dick, and like things like that. Like, you can build these relationships with people and get in on these sorts of things. And like, because I got onto Farfetched because Ashley and Dave are working on Lackadaisy,
Yeah.
and that guy got pulled in that way. So it's just who you know and who you meet, and if you're good to work with, if you're decent at your craft, like that sort of thing. So it always feels, indie stuff always feels way more collaborative to me than because usually it's not to besmirch anything, but take My Adventures with Superman, for example. We went in and recorded it, and it was awesome, and I had a lovely time, and everyone was great. But then you just sort of go home and, all right, I'll see this in 3 years
Right.
when it's finished. But with Lackadaisy and stuff, like, and, these other things, like, you get to really see, like, the development in some cases. Like, we've, been watching the development of Lackadaisy since it started, and it's just been wonderful to be able to see all the animation coming to life and hear all the sound effects work and all the 3D modeling for the cars and whatever. Like, you really get to see the process. And it feels so much more like a part of something as opposed to like an ingredient on top, if that makes sense.
No,
Like,
absolutely.
it feels very much like, you're we'll take the metaphor further. We're deep in the batter.
Yep.
Like, like, it's nice that, like, everything is just sort of coagulating into the this metaphor is getting away from me. But the point is, it's nice to be able to, like, like, feel like you are watching something special develop,
Yeah.
and rather than just waiting for it to appear.
It,
And
it
so I think that that's been fabulous and really, really rewarding, and it's wonderful to see everyone's hard work, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, it's incredible to actually like be there alongside, seeing this thing like grow and develop more to something more coherent than just, all right, here's the voice. All right, I'm gonna move on. Oh wait, that thing I did, it's out. Okay, cool. Like,
Oh yeah, like, I'm always terrible at announcing things because, one, everything is usually recorded under fake titles,
yep.
and two, I just never know when anything's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll drop, and I'm just like, oh, I wasn't prepared for this. What was my character's name again? Crap. Wait, what did I, and it's not me, being flighty or anything like that, but it is just like, I'm very used to, you have to sort of deliberately goldfish brain a little bit once like, you finish a gig and it's like, okay, that one's done, put it away, and now we go to the next gig.
Right.
And then you finish that one and you put it away and you go to the next gig. Like, it's so much like, you try not to, like, hold on to, like, too many pieces, but then the thing comes out, or the thing is, and then you sort of have to, oh wait, yes, I was in that. Hello. It was great. But, like, it's tiring sometimes to, like, jump from thing to thing, and I just don't have the brain space to remember any of these things unless I'm reminded.
Right. Which is why
But that's the other reason why, like, the indie stuff is
Yeah.
so cool, is that it's like, you feel more involved, you get to sort of vibe with everyone else's passion. Like, it's really, really lovely. And you get to do that in the booth, but then you leave the booth and it's gone. You can't go home and hop in the Discord server and be like, what's everyone doing? But you can do that with, like, Lackadaisy. So it's really, really lovely.
Exactly. And, on the flip side, when it comes to the question that I got to ask, I am curious because, again, as we've established with this, podcast alone, you've had a lot of incredible roles and a lot of wonderful opportunities more than anything else. There has to be a role or a type of role that you were just itching for the opportunity to, like, give a classic performance to. Like, is there such a, like, like, wish list opportunity that you wish to get the opportunity to do at some point?
Yes, I really, 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 really want to voice Dr. Doom.
Yes.
Doom is my favorite Marvel character, always has been. I would love to play Doom. I think that'd be a lot of fun. If you ask me, in the MCU, vastly missed opportunity not having Mads Mikkelsen do it,
Right?
or something.
Right?
You know, like he's right there. Like you wasted him in this Doctor Strange role as a character whose name I don't even remember.
Right?
But you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, and especially after his work in Hannibal and stuff. Like I love like. One of my favorite things about Doom is how collected he is and how sort of unflappable he is until, you know, a certain point, and then he rages, and that's when he's his own downfall.
Exactly.
You know, so he's really the cause of his own suffering to some degree.
And
I would love to play Doom.
Oh no, absolutely. No, I was gonna say, like, first off, absolutely. I can only imagine, especially given the gravitas that you have in your voice or whatnot. I can only imagine what kind of a delivery you can give with Doom, both with like the calm, like collected, like mentality, and then like the absolute crash out moment that could potentially have in a certain situation like that. I would personally pay money to see that. So MCU, if you're hearing this, you know, Kevin Feige or whoever in the chain in some
whoever's in charge of the animation field over there.
Yeah, right here. Just saying.
Please.
And also, I'm so glad you mentioned not only Mads Mikkelsen, but especially the role in Hannibal, because I loved that show so much.
Yes, what a gorgeous show that was.
It was so gorgeous. It was so well shot and executed in so many different forms or whatnot. And yeah, Mads Mikkelsen was like the perfect person that you could have casted as Hannibal Lecter. Like, come on. Like,
Oh yeah. And honestly, I would say that I actually consider him a bit more of a book-accurate Lecter than Anthony Hopkins did. Not to take anything away from him, obviously.
Obviously.
Fabulous performance. But you know, it's like, well, he's not English, though. You know, so like he needs, you know, he's not... Matt's doing such a... I had the opportunity to interview him at a convention once. Yeah, my dear friend Marianne, she was running the convention... in like a guest sort of capacity, I think. But she offered me, she was like, "Hey, he's going to be there and he's doing a panel. Do you want to interview him and do the panel?" And I'm like, "Yes." Hello, yes. It's tragic because they were not able to. It was there was something about like you can't record. You can't record that, so there's no footage of it. There's some pictures of us,
right,
but there's no actual footage. But he was such a charming gentleman. What a delightful fellow.
Oh my God.
Very, very, and a funny guy too. He was really funny. He was great. So he was just fabulous. And I mentioned him at one point. I'm like, you know, I've always, I always thought that you should play Dr. Doom. And the audience sort of went, oh, and I'm like, wait, no one else thought of this, really? But then he was very sort of demure, and he's like, it's because of my funny accent, isn't it? I'm like, your accent's not funny. Your accent is beautiful.
It is.
Are you kidding me? Like, and I'm like, right, folks? And the fellows are, yeah, you know, like they all are all into it. And I'm like, yeah, let's compliment this man. We can't let him get away with this. No, like no. It is because he always calls it his funny accent. I'm like, it's not funny. It's cool. Yeah. It's so cool, dude. Like, I love your voice. So it was fabulous to get to do that with him, and he's such a delightful gentleman.
Yeah, his voice is it can be either very subtle or it could be very commanding given the right moment. Like, it's not a funny little accent. It's a very well done, like well executed accent more than anything. I mean, obviously it's his accent. It's not like he's putting on the accent more than anything else. But regardless, no, it's just so great more than anything else. But yeah, like getting the opportunity, whether it be him or whether it be you, to voice Dr. Doom in some form or fashion would be a dream.
I would love to.
I can only imagine. I mean, like, it's gotta be so weird even thinking like that opportunity could be a reality, maybe, given like what you've been able to do, and more or less, like, even taking a step back, think of the community that you've been able to amass just by doing some incredible voices at the end of the day. Like, is it weird for you to think of how much of a presence you've been able to have, like, in our, you know, cultural zeitgeist with what you've been able to do?
Oh yeah, it's super weird. I like try not to think about it because it makes me nervous.
That's fair.
You know, where I'm just like, oh God, you know, like I am not. Contrary to what it may seem like, I'm not a hugely gregarious, like deep, you know, wildly social dude.
Mm-hmm.
So like cons and stuff can like kind of be, you know, wear on me a little bit. Not that anyone is doing anything wrong,
right,
or that fans are doing anything wrong, but it's just like no, I'm just easily exhausted by like a lot of interaction. But no, everyone that I've ever met in this business and from fandoms and things like that, everyone's been so kind and so sweet, and it's deeply humbling to be able to hear that, like, you know, this character is a comfort to me, or even if it's Ken the Butcher, like that's still, fair enough. Like he is still a tender father figure, and like I
Yeah.
get that. So, hearing that kind of stuff, just it just makes you realize, like, this is more than just this. It's certainly more than a paycheck, and it's more than, it's more than the art itself, almost, where it's, these things sort of develop a life of their own, and to me, it seems like anything, feeling any other way but like sort of pathetically grateful to be able to be in this business, and humbled by people stopping in to just say, hey, this meant a lot to me. Being able to sort of open that up is an incredible experience, and it's deeply humbling, and it's deeply gratifying that I can, like in any small way contribute to someone's happiness or experience, or like whatever, like that. It just means so much. It's so, because it's just not something I think about, until, because I am deeply petrified of ever being like, like sort of full of myself, or like, yeah, I did that because I'm amazing, like I never ever want to be that guy.
Right.
I've met that guy and he sucks. So you know what I mean. So I never ever want to be that guy, and it's like it's crazy to me that like I've been able to do some of the things I've gotten to do. It's been immensely gratifying.
Well, I mean, I guess that kind of also leads us to the kind of the next question that I have, in a way, because like just having that kind of, I guess, humbleness at the end of the day, with like, hey, I have a very unique position. I'm not taking this for granted more than anything else.
No, never.
Like, I imagine that kind of even taking like one more step back and looking to kind of your art journey as a whole, from, when you were just, taking the cassette recorder and recording the animated shows and doing your own voiceovers with it, to here you are right now being a very recognizable voice for a lot of people in animation in one form or fashion. Does it amaze you more or less how far you've been able to develop as an artist?
Yes, it does. It's it's a lot of I mean, it doesn't just happen, like it is something that, it is craft after all. So, it's a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of, a lot of moving and shaking, and, again, like meeting folks and staying in touch, and, establishing business relationships, establishing personal relationships, like all sorts of stuff. It's quite a long process, but yeah, it's been interesting to like, come all the way from micro cassette recording stuff, just goofing around in the basement, to, goofing around in my booth at home. I'm like, well, this isn't in the basement, this is upstairs. So clearly we're moving on up in the world.
We are moving on up in one form or fashion. Well, for this next question, what if we move up just a little bit more, if I may? Because, Jason, I want to give you more or less the dream scenario. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come up to you, I'm like, look, Jason, your voice, we need more of it. Like, we love it, and or just your creativity in general, because we can tell there's a lot of love for what you do for this craft at the end of the day, in one form or fashion. You just need a little extra push, a little extra platform to get you to that point. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever field possible, and more money than there should be possible. We probably should be taking care of voice actors and animators and stuff, make sure that they have like a solid living wage, insurance, all stuff like that, hashtag stay with animation forever and always. We'll focus on them in a little bit. We promise. You have our word. We just want to focus on you and you alone in this moment. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Jason Marnocha project?
Oh, man. Well, honestly, we were just joking about it last night. I was over at, speaking of Frank Tadaro, I was over at his Halloween party last night.
Oh.
Yeah, it was, we've been talking, I mentioned the show earlier as well, but we've been always talking about, we've been talking about doing, like, we want to be involved in a remake of the Pirates of Darkwater.
Okay.
Yeah, we want, because one, the original show didn't finish. It was canceled before they found all the gems and all that. So it didn't even really get to really spread it. So I think it's only the one season. Like, it didn't really get to take off. But it's so, like, deeply cool. Like, you've got, like, these bone pirate ships and whatever. And, like, it's so, like, high fantasy craziness. Like, I love that show. I have such nostalgia for that show. So I'm like, I would love to do a revamp, remake, like relaunch, like of the Pirates of Darkwater, and do like a whole, like a good solid. It's one of those things where, like, I'm always concerned with shows that keep going and keep going, because no one has ever in the history of the English language ever said, "Oh yeah, season 37 is my favorite." You know, so like, like it just doesn't happen. Like no one says that. So it's like I would want it to be tops probably 4 seasons. Just
Right.
boom, 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 done. We know where we're gonna end. We know what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like it needs to be. It's sort of like Gravity Falls or The Last Airbender or something. You know, something that has a beginning, a middle, and end, wraps up really nicely, doesn't just keep going. You know, like I think that I would love to do that.
Absolutely. I mean,
That would be a lot of fun.
I mean, to be fair, with a show like that, there is an obvious endpoint. Find the jewels more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Like, there's only so much you can be on open waters before it's like, we found the treasure. No offense to One Piece, but even they have an ending at some point in their future.
I swear to God, if the One Piece is the friends they made along the way, we riot.
You have
if that's not an actual huge treasure, I swear to God.
You have a very valid point there. But sadly, we have to get down from the dream scenario. We have to get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question. Where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
5 to 10 years from now, I hope to still be here. That's a start.
That's a good start. That's a very good start.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, honestly, I would love to just still be able to keep doing what I'm doing. Like as long as I'm able to, keep this up. If I'm even still just doing like the sort of thing I'm doing right now, I would still consider that, more than enough to reassure little micro cassette recording Jason that it's all okay, that it turns out all right. That things that this whole thing isn't ridiculous. This pipe dream of career is not too crazy. Like it, even just still staying where I'm at would be enough. Just because I feel like I'm immensely grateful for the opportunities that I've had and getting to, because it has been steady work too. So, like the steadiness of work is kind of what you want, right? Like it's one thing to have like a gigantic success, but then if nothing follows it up, because again, it's always, well, what else do you do? What else you got? What else are you doing?
That's why there's one hit wonders when it comes to musicians. Sometimes you have the one big hit, and then afterwards it's like, what do I do now?
Now what? Yeah, right. And it's just it's just the way that like the worm turns, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully, if people finally give up on AI and stop wasting their time on it, then we'll be able to just keep doing more voiceover stuff and just keep trucking along and because I'm not one of those guys who's like oh, I'd love to win an Emmy or whatever. Like I don't whatever. I don't really that doesn't really enter my purview. I don't really know about all that.
It's one of those, if it happens, it happens. But like that's not the thing. You're like, your career is not peaking whenever you get that award.
No, absolutely. So I'm happy. I'm very pleased with the way things are going. So if we're able to just even if it just stays this way, I would be thrilled.
There you go. That's honestly a good thing to aspire for more than anything else. As we start to wind down the interview, Jason, I just got one last question I want to ask you. Obviously, you are deeply entrenched in art in one form or fashion at this point. There's nothing that's going to rip you away from this field, no matter how hard AI or whatever random bullshit tries,
Oh, yeah.
How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
Ooh. I'm going to cough again.
Go for
it. Gosh, that's a very good question. I think that art is like, and art is in everything, isn't it? Mm. Art is in even something like cooking. There is art in, there's art in everything. It is the most human form of expression. And I think that's why I detest the AI thing so much, because it's, it's cobbled out of quote unquote human expression or human experience, but it's not actually human experience because it is not actually generating anything. It is regurgitating what's been put into it. It's just blending it together and hoping the answer is right, like that kind of thing. So for me, like art is so intrinsically human. It is something that we both need to do. It is something we need to experience. It is something we need, whether it be theater or dance or music or painting or drawing or animating or any of that. Like I do feel like art is something that we do all share, and sometimes it doesn't have to be monetized. It doesn't have to be picked up by a major studio. It doesn't have to be, just as long as we're all doing art in some form. I think that, you know what, we're all at least united on that front as human beings. I think art is incredibly important to the human experience. It is a comfort. It is a passion. It strikes anywhere I don't know. Human beings need art is where I'm at. I think that we all need art. I think we need to absorb art. And even when it may not feel like we are, you know what I mean? Like it may not feel like we're, like I said, with cooking, it's like, there's an art to cooking too. There's art in this, like there's so much to experience, and there's so much to gather. It'd be a shame to squander something like that for automation, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is all wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Jason, that is all the questions I have for you. I've already showered you with Lord knows how much praise up to this point, but I'm gonna shower you with a little
way
bit
too
more.
much. You'll have to take some of it back.
Well, unfortunately, Jason, I'm gonna shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what I want.
Oh God!
Look, in all seriousness, I know I kind of emphasized this earlier, but ever since I first got a chance to even hear your voice, let alone know about you more than anything else, thanks to, once again, our good friend Jane Gumball. Shout out to her. Like, I have just been absolutely impressed and enamored with what you've been able to do in one form or fashion, whether it be providing incredible voices for anime and animation in general, and Megatron. Like, again, we went through the list. All the voices I've been impressed with, to the stuff you've been able to do nowadays and get a chance to have more eyes on, and just every single performance you've been able to have. Like, I cannot help but love and admire, like, how unique of a voice that you have, but also like how well your voice really meshes with the characters you've been able to present more than like it's always impressive to hear kind of the opportunities you've been able to get. And to be blunt, you deserve each and every single one. Like, you have earned every single opportunity that you've gotten, just with how much of a like I said, gravitas at the end of the day that you have, not just for every performance that you have, but just you're feeling when it comes to the field at the end of the day. Like, getting the chance to talk to you right now and listen to you, hear about your journey more than anything else. Like, there was no doubt that there was a lot of love and respect with what you do, but like, that love and respect, it is through the roof. The roof is actually gone at this point because of how much that love and respect is there more than anything. Because, like, I could tell that, like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you get a paycheck from it. Yeah, it's something that you do. But, like, you don't take it for granted. And that's the one thing that I love and appreciate. Like, you recognize, you can tell me if I'm wrong with this, but I feel like with our conversation, you can tell kind of how lucky of a position you are to be able to get these opportunities, and you perform it to your fullest. You do everything you can to really give a performance that people are going to love at the end of the day in one form or fashion. And I hear no complaints so far when it comes to what you've been able to do, and I am glad for that, and I am excited for whatever's going to be next, whether it's more of the stuff that we've been able to see so far. Like, for example, I cannot wait to see what you get to do with Ken for the Gaslight District more than anything else. Or whether it's opportunities that haven't even come to your desk in the first place. Like, I would love, you mentioned Dr. Doom. I would love to see that kind of role for you in the first place. Like, get an opportunity to do that. Or just whether roles people can envision with your absolutely stunning voice. I cannot get over, like, how great your voice is. Just point blank. The long and the short of it, I could grovel on for days when it comes to how incredible you are. But, like, at the end of the day, thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting yourself out there like you have, and keep up the incredible work, because there are hundreds, maybe thousands, Lord knows how many other people that love and appreciate what you do. And I know we are all excited to see what you're going to be doing next. So thank you, Jason.
Oh, man, thank you. That's incredibly kind. Thank you so much. Oh, man.
Trust me, I speak nothing of the truth. I mean, we got through a good hour and a half of us talking about the stuff you've been able to do. Why would I lie to you at this point,
No, you're right. You're right. You're sticking the landing. I'm like, I can only say thank you, because, oh, God, what lovely praise.
Now, if people want to know why I have been gushing about you for the past hour and a half or however long we've been talking, go ahead and plug your stuff for the people at home. Where can people find more about you and what you got going on?
You can find me mostly on Blue Sky and Instagram these days. And it's just the letter J and then Marnocha. JMarnocha is where you can find me.
Mm-hmm.
And so pop on over and see pictures of my cat and stuff.
Yeah, or see pictures of Jason sipping out of a skull, which I think is probably
That's
the
also
best.
true.
Yeah,
or the best headshot that's ever happened.
Right? or enjoying some wonderful whiskey, because I gotta say the one shot that you had recently or whatnot, like I wanted a sip of whatever you were sipping on, because that looked lovely.
Yeah. Oh, I love my whiskey.
Absolutely, I can only imagine. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
You know what? Everybody out there, stemming off what I was saying earlier, keep practicing your art. You know, like as Brian Blessed would say, don't let the bastards grind you down.
There you go.
Go on out there and do your art. Stick with your art.
I think that is a wonderful way to end this podcast. With that, all I have left to say is for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me it's parts in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, put me up in the car, you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Like I said in the intro, this was a fantastic conversation at the end of the day. I mean, like I said in the intro, Jason is someone that I have certainly kept my eyes on for a while, but getting the chance to talk to him, like, it was so oddly warm and inviting at the end of the day. Jason, if you've gotten up to this point, sincerely thank you for taking the time to do this. It was an absolute blast, and I can't wait for the next chance to chat with you, just point blank. You know, getting to see how Jason is able to kind of embrace these opportunities and really, like, because look, as you heard from the conversation, he has had some wild opportunities. I mean, voicing in some of the biggest animes that you know and love today, getting the chance to bring to life characters of some of the newest indie darlings that you can't help but just love and wonder what's going to be happening next. And the fact that he's so humble about it, like, I don't want to say I'm surprised by it, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, it's very easy for some people to get so caught up in this kind of field. And I just can't help but love and admire the guy. I can't help but want to root for Jason every single step of the way. I mean, if nothing else, did you hear the charisma in the guy's voice? Dear God. It just shows at the end of the day that sometimes if you get the chance to know the people that get to do incredible stuff, you can learn that they are some of the coolest people, like, period. They are some of the most humble and down-to-earth people that you could have a million conversations with over and over again. It makes me, again, excited for the next chance I get to see Jason. I hope that soon. I genuinely do. But until then, like I will always say, seeing the cool opportunities that Jason's been able to have, I mean, you can tell that there's that love and dedication and work ethic more than anything else. Keep that kind of mentality with what you guys are doing with your work. I mean, I know especially these days, especially with what's been going on lately in the world, it's really hard to keep that up, but I'm telling you guys, if you just keep up that love and support, you keep up that dedication, that work ethic, the opportunities will come. I promise you they will. Put yourself out there. Be weird, be wild, be incredible. Just keep up the incredible work. I know you can do it.